Hi, welcome to this week's Kindy Science. We're going to be talking about shapes today, geometry in art, and how we can use shapes, not just to put shapes down flat on a piece of paper, but to build things that are three-dimensional, that have got height, width, and depth, and how those things are made of flat shapes. Your t-shirt has got 3 dimensions. It's got height, width, and depth, but it's made of flat shapes that have been sewn together. So James and Rose are going to show you some balls and how they're made of different shapes that have been sewn together to make a 3-dimensional or a 3D shape. And they're going to be using flat shapes that are combined together in something called a net. Not a fishing net, not an insect net, not a basketball net, but a flat piece of paper or cardboard that has the shapes on it that will make a 3-dimensional prism. So let's get to it.
Fun fact! Everything around us is made of shapes.
Revision time. Do you remember your shapes? Square, circle, triangle, rectangle, pentagon, hexagon, octagon,
Let's experiment! A ball like this one has hexagons. Hexagons with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, and pentagons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. And when you stitch them together, like you see in this ball, it makes a ball like this one. So then there's this ball. You may recognize it. It has leaf-shaped thingies. And when you sew them together, it makes a football. Next is a cylinder, like this toilet roll. You have some wet clothes. When you cut it up, like dot up just one straight line, roll it out, it's a rectangle. And finally, there's a box. See how there's rectangle here, rectangle there, rectangle there, rectangle, rectangle. Whoa. This box, if you cut up the sides, it makes a bunch of rectangles. One there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and one that used to be the lid. When you flatten an object like a prism or a ball, the flattened object becomes a net. We're going to be building some 3D prisms using their flattened nets. This is the net of a cube. This is the net of a rectangular prism. This is the net of a triangular prism. The tricky net of a cylinder. This is the net of a triangular-based pyramid. This is the net of a square-based pyramid. This is a very tricky one. The net of a pentagon-based pyramid, which has 5 sides. And you remember the ice cream cone? The net of a cone. Time to cut them out and make them. nets. And now I'm going to take them and turn them into a beautiful mobile.
Now you can be creative. If you have a look at things around us, objects like air balloons are made up of lots of different shapes and sewn together to make a three-dimensional object. A circus tent is made up of triangles and rectangles. And James and Rose made themselves a cubby house out of triangles. By putting the triangles together, they were able to make hexagons and pentagons and build a dome that they then turned into the roof of a box cubby house. I hope you enjoyed this week's Kindy Science and that you're going to be looking around to see what three-dimensional prisms or objects are made up of flat shapes. That when they're sewn together or glued together, they make an object that's got height, width and depth. And if you are going to do some cutting and gluing, remember to ask mum or dad or your educator for permission first and to make sure that you've got the right equipment. And you could try and build a cubby house, just like James and Rose did. Okay, give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a pretend sticker, and I'll see you next time. Bye.